Hey y'all, welcome back. Today's video is gonna be a little different. Right now I'm in the car where it's air conditioned still because it is hot out here. But today I want to bring you a little topic that's kind of a little disturbing in a sense. I am at Shadowlawn Memorial Cemetery. This is where my father is buried. In Jefferson County alone, there is over 100 strictly black cemeteries. And, you know, during Jim Crow and during the Civil War, pretty much the majority of American history up until like in the 70s, black people weren't allowed to be buried in cemeteries where there were white people. That was the law. In the state of Alabama, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these type of cemeteries. A lot of them are slave cemeteries. And in this particular cemetery, there are former slaves. The problem with the cemeteries that are primarily black people is that they're not being maintained, okay? Now, I've been to this cemetery one time before to look for my father's grave, and it was an ordeal. That's all I can say, but I got a funny story about that as well, so make sure you keep watching. But I want to show you, and today I just pulled up. It looks a lot better today than when the first time I saw it, because this has been in the newspaper for a long time. I mean, like 20 years, people have been fighting to try to preserve and find somebody or some type of way to care for this cemetery. So just to give you a little backstory on this cemetery, and I'm going to look at my phone. In 1889, there were some wealthy landowners, Caucasian, that sold this land for this cemetery for $1. And the deed indicated that this was going to be a colored burial ground. The guy was a Confederate officer and during the Civil War, and when he got back, I mean, I don't know, maybe his conscience got to him or something, but he felt like he should do something to give a little back or whatnot. Initially, this was 30 acres. And then additional 10 acres across the street, which I'll show you, was added, I don't know, I think maybe 1970 something or whatnot. Now, people are not allowed to be buried here anymore. Okay. The owner of this cemetery filed bankruptcy 1997, okay? And nobody owned it. They started a memorial organization to try to preserve this, but you know, local people can only do so much without any assistance from the city, and the city and the state of Alabama has said that, you know, that's not our problem. This is not a public cemetery, this is private. Even though the owners have filed bankruptcy, we don't have it in our budget to give you any money to do anything to this cemetery. And the only time they come out here and cut this grass and maintain it is when it becomes a nuisance property, because they don't want rats and snakes, you know, being prolific on this property. It's estimated that it costs about $66,000 a year to maintain the grass here. So about, I think, $6,000 a cut. Now, a lot of people do donate money on a regular basis, what little they have, to try to build up the fund. And a lot of landscapers, people that have contracting companies, will come and sometimes donate their time to try to, you know, maintain this place. And then the families, some of the families come with their lawnmowers and their weed whackers to maintain around the graves of their family members. What's really interesting about this cemetery is there are a lot of Spanish American War veterans, Vietnam veterans, Buffalo soldiers, which were the black regiments in the Civil War. There's Tuskegee Airmen in here. a lot of, and like I said, some former slaves. A lot of these graves are really old, like 1890. This guy, World War II, Korean War. As you can see, you know, some of them you really can't see because nobody's really maintaining that. 1890, 1896, early 1900s. So, yeah, like I said, you can go through all of these weeds. I want to show you like where you can see stuff is cracked up and coming up off out the ground. Back here, I don't know if you can see this. Let's walk over there. So it's really sad, but this is the state of a lot of cemeteries. Now, see like that, you can't really tell who this is unless you... Corporal in the Army, World War II. They were born in 1918. So, as I said, there's a lot of war veterans here. And also, one of the 4 little girls that died in the 16th Street bombing was buried here. Her family eventually had her moved to Elmwood Cemetery once they start allowing Black people to be buried there in the 1970s. Like, how do you find anything in here, man? Look at this. Like, whose family member is this? And then here's another problem. Big ass holes. Okay, this is a grave, which means, look, okay, let me tell you the story now. That side was put in at a later date. For some reason, that side, this is bad, but that side has a lot of places where water had pooled. So there's more holes, more stuff being like pushed up out of the ground, graves even being moved because of the water. So the day I came out here with my aunt, it was really windy. So I go over there because we went over here, we couldn't find anything. I go over there. She's a little still closer to the edge. I'm walking, looking, trying to be careful where I'm walking because it's pools of water. And like I said, look like some graves are about to bust up out of the ground. My leg goes down in the damn hole of a grave, all the way up to my knee. I like to lost my mind, okay? Because my imagination went crazy. I'm thinking this whole grave is going to collapse and I'm going to be in here with this dead person 6 foot down, and it's going to be some snakes like Indiana Jones in there, and my aunt can't help me. I'm going to be covered in dirt down here with a coffin. Who knows if it's closed? And while my leg is dangling and I'm trying my best to pull my upper body to get my leg out of this hole, my imagination is telling me something's touching my foot. Because, you know, you see too many horror movies. So I'm thinking like there's a skeleton hand reaching up, grabbing my ankle, trying to pull me down in this grave. I just lost my mind and I'm screaming. So finally, I get my leg out. I pull my body out. Hurry up and get off that spot. Then she comes over like, oh, what's going on? Why is you so dirty? Because I was down in a damn hole, about to die. That's why. Gotta be really careful going through these because you never know what's gonna happen. Don't come out here by yourself because I'm not gonna fall in here and then be stuck here for days with my leg down in a grave. Not gonna happen. Just starve to death. Look at that. And there are graves right here, man. Look at this. It's sad. I mean, look at that. So like I said, I never found my father. Oh, section 5. Now I think that's the first marker I have seen. Alabama has a horrible, horrible racist history. And this is something that is not just Birmingham, but all over the whole state. Just shows the disparity in the South of how black people were treated. These people fought in wars for this country. You know, like I said, the Spanish-American War, there's Vietnam War veterans, there's World War II, there's World War I veterans. Well, they weren't buried in veteran cemeteries because they weren't allowed to because they were black. But they were good enough to fight for this country. Stuff like this makes you angry. I know there's so much of history that makes you angry, and at some point you got to make peace with it, but it's deep. Like, look at this. There's graves. So it just gets worse and worse the further you go back. Oh, Michelle Obama's, she just found out a couple years ago that her great-great-grandfather's buried here as well. Wow. So I know this is kind of a morbid subject, but it brings to light a lot of sad history, a lot of reality of what life was like in the South. You know, these look like they had to be moved because there's no way one is that close to the next on the edge of the walkway. So it goes all, I ain't walking all the way down this hill, but they go all back there, all over there, way back here, like it's going towards the tree lines, around the corner. And I saw one marker, section 5. That's it. No, I know there got to be some snakes in here. Look at that one. It's just got a whole ecosystem just going around it. You can see some family members do try, but like, look at these right here by the fence. They're just almost overtaken by the vegetation. I don't even know why I got out and burned up walking around when I could have seen everything from the car. But yeah, look at this section that we're going through. There's graves all in this. This is insane. Look at this. There are graves all in here. Wow. I mean, look at this. Okay, there are graves all back up in here. Here's one right there. Here's a question I have for you. When it comes to this, does this matter to you? Does it matter if your final resting place is well maintained? If it is overgrown and forgotten? Me personally, I know I'm not in there. That's not who I am. That's a shell. That is something that carried the essence, my soul, the essence of who I am or who I was. And that is gone out of that shell. At that point, the body, your physical body is pointless, in my opinion. For some people, I respect that this matters to them to, you know, have these graves, these beautiful headstones, these memorials, mausoleums. But for me, I don't really care. I wouldn't care to be buried back there by that fence with some overgrown weeds. It really don't matter. Because I know now that I'm not in there. And I would hope my family would know that. I don't even really come to cemeteries, and I've lost loved ones, close, you know, like grandparents and great-grandparents and my parents. But I don't go to the graveyard to even Memorial Day to put flowers on graves and all of that. That type of symbolism for me doesn't mean anything. But like I said, I respect those that it does. You know, we all have to deal with loss and grief in our own way. If I do go, maybe, I don't know, every 10, 20 years, it is only because this is a reminder for us, the living, that this will be us one day. And we need to remember this is our ultimate destination, whether it's here, whether you get cremated, or wherever you are. Death is our ultimate destination. It's up to you to decide what that's going to look like afterwards, whether you're going to be in the ground or you want to be in the ground, your physical body. But let me know in the comments what your thoughts are about it. I still think it's sad for the families that decided to put their family members here, or the people that wanted this to, you know, not to be respected. But for me, hell, you can fling me out of a rocket into the atmosphere. I really don't give a damn. I don't want to be cremated, though, I can tell you that much. But my body, I really don't give a damn what happens to it. I ain't too happy with it now. It's just taking me from point A to point B. And, you know, it's what I'm living in right now in this world. But other than that, when I'm gone, I really don't care what you do with me. Still, like I said, I didn't find my father's grave. I know he has a headstone, but I mean, this stuff is so overgrown. Some of it, he could be in the bushes somewhere. But I just start screaming out, "Hey, Daddy, I tried. Deuces, gotta go." Like I said, that doesn't really, you know, I just wanted to see out of closure and curiosity, because I was adopted. I never met my father. He died when I think I was about 11, but I didn't know that. And I didn't find out who he was until 2018. Okay, guys, let's get back to the living.